that's one of the, if there's an obstacle in the way, they have teams of people that strategize how to remove those obstacles. And when some of those obstacles are either tribes or either that they're endangered species, and natural resources generally, tribes and natural resources and endangered species all go together. So those corporations strategize how to get past those and how to remove those. And I think that's where some of our council, that was part of our discussion is we have council with varied experiences and backgrounds, and Larry's has a military background, so he was explaining that that's what the military, some of the things that the military on military bases and stuff, they had to shut down different types of ranges, and Larry can probably explain better than I can what they had to do. But there's laws out there in place that are to protect the endangered species and tribes. And recent experience that I have is down in this whole Dakota Access Pipeline, and there's also a Yellowstone pipeline. The Yellowstone pipeline runs right through here in Washington and terminates in Moses Lake. But it also goes through parts of our ancestral territories down in Crab Creek, and to get there, and also through the Spokane River and on through the Kootenays, and all the way here. And I learned this just talking, because I've been down in Moses Lake working with networking with all those farmers down there, and getting to know them and introduce them to our tribe. And some of them did some research. They of course they look the Colville tribe up, because they don't know anything about us down there. A lot of them don't. And the other thing too is some of them that do, they have a family history, and they remember the Indians and that history. And the interesting thing about the Indians is they remember when the Indians were removed, but when that Yellowstone pipeline went through their land, they were removed. And they have this land they can't use, and they can't dig, they can't plow up, because they'll get in big trouble, because the corporation, you'll be breaking the laws, and the corporations will all sue you, and you'll be in court and lose. So I was really surprised. In 2 weeks, in actually a month's time, I met this farmer. He was able to research the Colville tribes enough to know, who all our council people are, and where our traditional territories are, and also he, and several other ones down in the Moses Lake and Odessa area welcome the tribes back, because they say that one day we're probably gonna need your help. And they also would like to thank the tribes for protecting their water. I met one of them that says, because he did the research, and he found the fight for water up here that the Colville tribes did with Tek Kaminko versus Joe Pacotis. So now, since he did that research, there's now a Joe Pacotis sign down in his yard in Odessa. And he's running for a position. And it's really kind of interesting the way things happen down there. Since that short time I've been down there doing business and meeting people, that's my main purpose, is go down there and just meet all these different people. But they're and not only in our reservation to Indian tribes, but all across the state. There's all these different allies that we have that are appreciative of the work that we do to try to protect their water. And they say the last words from that guy when I saw him, when did we come back? Friday? Well, his last words were, if they're going to do that to the Indian people over in Dakotas, guess what? They're going to do that to us again. Us American people that pay taxes, they're going to come across to our land and make us get out of the way. Take $100, get off my land. He says that happened to us already, and he said I'll come up and talk to the council, and that's a guy from down in Odessa. I'll come talk to the council and meet with them about it, and that's what he said. Full support of the tribes. So I'm pretty glad to see you here, and I know this is about, people think it's just about grizzly bears, but it's an abrogation of our rights and an agreement that they're supposed to consult with us before they do anything. And in this case, they're not consulting with the tribes, and they're not consulting with the tribes on not only just the grizzly bear, but also the other endangered species, and also cultural, I guess all the cultural sites that we have over there too. They're just gonna go right through them as soon as they can get these endangered species delisted, like the grizzly bear. Next it'll be the owls. Next it'll be the salmon. Next it'll be they already got the wolves. They're gonna just keep going down, and we're next. That's how I see we'll be in the way next. They're gonna figure out how to undermine us.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. When I was at the Squally tribe the other day, and Willie Frank was talking, and they have a picture of his dad framed up on the wall with a quote, and a quote from Billy Frank, about the salmon and treaty rights and our culture and everything else. Willie looked at that picture and the quote from his dad, and he looked at this, and he went like this, and he said exactly what my dad was speaking of. He said it's all represented with this.
Yep.
And that's true.
So when we keep talking about death to sovereignty by 1,000 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they only need 2 or 3 cuts. This is an attack on sovereignty, one at a time, until they can set the path and the precedent to defeat us in court.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be just like we're already an endangered species. There's only 9,500 Colvilles, and probably a lot less if there's more tribes that are even more endangered. But anyway, I'll quit now and save room for everybody else. And I want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got to live with the Siapis all over the world. And that's exactly how they think. I worked in Kenya there for a while, and the Kenyans actually took their country back from the Brits. And there used to be the great white hunters and stuff like that. You don't see that so much more in Kenya anymore. The guys that used to do the safaris and stuff like that, they're allowed to go out there and take pictures. And the great white hunter, that's what they're doing right now. And they are protecting their elephants, and they are protecting those rhinos and everything else that's out there. But then you go up in a goddamn Kurdistan in northern Iraq, they're exploiting that entire area up in there because it's oil. It's the same thing that's happening here. Because all of our natural resources where our tribes grew up, the reason they had the villages there because the water and all the resources were there. And I guarantee right now, our reservation, 1.4 million acres, they're looking at this stuff right there. All those developers and all those miners, they're already coming up with plans just like they're doing here. That's how they think. The Siapi always thinks like that. That's why we're on the reservations anyhow, because they wanted to develop all that other stuff, and they took the prime land, they took the prime minerals. They knew exactly what they were doing, because they did the same thing in Europe. And yeah, the fight is all of ours. I'm a strong believer in that. And that's why, a lot of times we don't let the Siapis make the decisions for us. They can come and give us some recommendations, but at the end of the day, based on our culture, our language, and our history, we're the ones that make the decisions. And I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I look at it in a different perspective, and all that you've talked about. Before they built the dam, the Grand Coulee Dam, all of the tribes used to gather at Kettle Falls, and the Flatheads and the Blackfeet used to come over salmon season. At that time they had what was called salmon chiefs, like our leader here, Chas Williams. And they would divide up amongst the tribes all of the salmon that was caught on a daily basis. when the salmon season was over with, the Caldwells and the other tribes would go into Montana for the roots, berries, the medicines. The grizzly bears have always been powerful medicine, powerful spirituality for those who are blessed with it. It was a protector. So are the wolves, and I was reading in the paper here a couple of days ago where the National Park Service said that they're not going to kill the rest of the wolf pack. I was upset about it because you're talking about that pack is on this reservation, and I didn't see where National Park Service had any authority, let alone jurisdiction here. And so I look at it as a gathering of people and sharing things, and the power that, again, the government is wanting to take from the Indian people. First, it was separating the children from the parents, putting them in boarding schools. Then the Relocation Act. And it just keeps going on, and now, you know, you look at it and nothing has broken the tribes. And now they're attacking our animals. And I know that it's not gonna break us, because what it's done is it's united us as tribes. We come to this table every day and we do our own business and we take care of our own reservation until things like Standing Rock happens, and it has to do with water rights. And now this. So I support it 100%, simply because at some point in time, and people are saying things like, you know, they're going to attack us, but you know what? They have been attacking us since the 30s and the 40s. It hasn't stopped. And I see that we've survived this. And we will also survive this. So that's how I look at it. If anything's gonna make us stronger, it will be the grizzly, it will be the wolf. It will be the animals that will always take care of us. That's all.
Willie?
I'd like to thank you also for coming down and making this presentation. And I'd also like to note, you know, you're in good hands with our two elder leaders back there, Soy and Chaz.
Thank you.
And I agree with 100%. I support this, and, you know, our 12 tribes here have all connection to all the animals and the bears, and goes all the way up into Canada, you know, on both sides. You know, follows the rivers, and, you know, and the salmon, you know, so, and support that 100%.
Thank you. What's the name of that document?
It's called the Grizzly Treaty of Cooperation, Cultural Revitalization, and Restoration.
Okay.
That's why I had to look at it. Even though I carry it all over.
You guys ready to vote?
Yep.
All those in favor of the chairman signing this, the key?
Key.
Opposed? Abstained?
Unanimous.
Sign it. I'll sign it, and we can keep talking later, but I might have to leave pretty quick, but, I saw a grizzly one time in my life here, and that was, you can't see it now, but there's a big mountain back here behind the clouds, Lotus Mountain. Then on the other side was a meadow, it's like a high mountain meadow. And there's about 20 years ago, I just happened to be driving up there early in the morning, and I seen a grizzly loping across the meadow. Just kind of, he was a big bear, and it just looked like he's kind of floating across there. He's kind of floating across the meadow.